The great war hall of the Zarians shook as the heavy gates opened. Rows of alien warriors stood in silence, their tall frames covered in silver battle gear. At the center of the hall, on a throne of black stone, sat Queen Vera, the ruler of the Zarian Empire. Her golden crown gleamed under the torchlight, but her face was dark with anger. She had returned from a brutal battle against the rival Trasak clans. Her army had been victorious, but her sacred battle armor had been shattered in combat. That armor was no ordinary suit. It had been crafted many centuries ago, a symbol of strength and authority. For the Zarians, the armor was almost holy, and only a warrior queen could wear it. Vera stood tall, though her chest plate was cracked and the glowing lines across it flickered weakly. Her people watched nervously. A damaged royal armor was a sign of weakness, and if it could not be repaired, enemies across the galaxy would see her empire as vulnerable. "Bring the armor to me," Vera commanded in a deep, fierce voice. 4 attendants hurried forward, carrying the broken pieces on a black cloth. The metal plates were torn, wires snapped, and strange crystals that powered the suit were dim and unstable. Vera clenched her fists as she looked at the destruction. She turned to her court, her sharp eyes scanning the room. "Who among you will repair this?" she roared. Her voice echoed through the hall like thunder. "Which of my engineers has the skill to restore what was broken?" A group of alien engineers stepped forward nervously. They bowed, their long necks dipping low. One of them, an elder named Riven, spoke. "Your Majesty, we will try our best, but this armor was built by the ancient masters. Its secrets have been lost for generations. We fear it cannot be repaired." The hall fell silent. Even the warriors shifted uneasily. To admit defeat in front of the queen was dangerous. Vera's expression turned cold. "You fear failure more than you love victory," she said. "You claim to be engineers, yet you cannot fix what was once made by hands like yours. If none of you can do this, then perhaps you do not deserve your place here." The engineers trembled, but none dared to answer. Among the crowd, standing quietly near the back, was a human, a young man named Maro. Humans were rare in the Zarian Empire. Most were kept as laborers or assistants, not warriors or leaders. Maro worked as a simple mechanic, repairing small machines and tools. Compared to the towering Zarians, he looked small and fragile, but his brown eyes were sharp and observant. As the others stayed silent, Maro stepped forward. His boots echoed softly on the stone floor, drawing surprised glances from the alien nobles. Many sneered at him, whispering to each other. He stopped a few steps away from the throne and bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty," he said, keeping his voice calm, "I will repair your armor." The hall erupted in shocked murmurs. Some laughed, others gasped. A mere human daring to speak before the queen was unheard of. Vera's eyes narrowed. "You, a human? You claim you can repair what my best engineers cannot?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Maro replied, meeting her gaze without fear. "I have studied machines all my life. I may see things others overlook. If you give me a chance, I will restore your armor." Rivan, the elder engineer, stepped forward angrily. "This is foolishness, my queen. Humans are weak and simple. How could one understand the sacred technology of our ancestors?" Maro kept his voice steady. "Sometimes it is not about strength. Sometimes it is about seeing a problem differently." Vera raised a hand, silencing the room. She studied Maro for a long moment. His courage intrigued her. No other had dared to step forward. "Very well," she said finally. "You have one night to prove yourself. If you succeed, you will be rewarded. If you fail, the shame will be yours alone." Maro bowed again. "I understand." Later, Maro was led to a private chamber deep beneath the hall. The broken armor lay on a wide stone table, glowing faintly. Guards stood at the doors, watching him closely. As he examined the pieces, Maro's heart raced. The design was unlike anything he had seen. The outer metal was strong but flexible, shaped perfectly to Vera's form. Underneath were layers of delicate wiring and crystal nodes that pulsed with strange energy. He whispered to himself as he worked, carefully turning each piece over. "This isn't just armor," he thought. "It's alive in a way. The crystals react to her heartbeat, her movement. No wonder they couldn't fix it using ordinary tools." Hours passed as Maro worked tirelessly. He cleaned the cracked plates, reconnected wires, and studied the glowing crystals. He realized the armor's failure was not only from battle damage. There were hidden flaws in the design, weaknesses that had been ignored for centuries. The alien engineers had been following tradition, repairing the same way their ancestors did, never questioning why. Maro decided to try something different. Using his small human tools, he adjusted the crystal alignment and reinforced the wiring in new ways. He improvised with materials from his own kit, combining alien technology with human creativity. At one point, a crystal sparked violently, nearly burning his hand. A guard stepped forward, ready to stop him, but Maro held up his hand. "I'm fine, trust me. I know what I'm doing." By the time the first light of dawn touched the horizon, Maro had completed the first section of the armor. The chest plate, once cracked and dim, now gleamed with steady light. It was stronger than before, the energy flowing smoothly through its core. Maro wiped sweat from his brow and stepped back, exhausted but proud. The next morning, the hall filled again. Vera entered, her presence commanding silence. Her sharp eyes went straight to the table where the repaired armor lay. The crowd gasped. The restored section looked perfect, almost new. Even Riven, the elder engineer, stared in disbelief. Vera walked slowly around the table, examining Maro's work. She reached out, touching the smooth surface. The armor pulsed with life under her hand, perfectly balanced with her energy. She turned to Maro, her expression unreadable. "How did you do this?" Maro bowed respectfully. "I studied the flow of energy, Your Majesty. The original design was brilliant, but it had hidden flaws. I repaired those flaws and strengthened the structure. It was not strength that fixed it. It was understanding." The hall erupted with murmurs again, this time of awe rather than laughter. Some nobles were impressed, while others were furious that a human had succeeded where they had failed. Rivan stepped forward, his voice shaking with anger. "This is dangerous, my queen. His methods are untested. How can we trust a human's work?" Vera raised her hand for silence. Her eyes burned with a mix of pride and challenge. "We trust results, Riven, and the result is before us. This human has done in one night what my entire court could not do in years." She turned back to Maro. "You have proven yourself today, but this is only part of the armor. Can you repair the rest before the next battle?" Maro hesitated for a brief moment, then nodded firmly. "Yes, Your Majesty. I will not fail." Vera's lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile. "Then you will have your chance. Guards, see that he has what he needs. If anyone interferes with his work, they will answer to me." As Maro was escorted to begin the next stage of repairs, the alien nobles exchanged uneasy glances. A human had earned the queen's trust, and that changed everything. Some felt threatened, others curious. Maro knew the road ahead would be dangerous, but he also knew this was his moment to prove that humans were more than just workers or servants. They could create, innovate, and rise to any challenge. As he walked toward his new task, he whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning." The underground workshop was silent except for the hum of strange machines and the soft glow of blue energy crystals. Maro stood alone beside the queen's sacred armor, his hands steady even though his heart beat fast. Around him, tools and alien devices were neatly arranged. Guards watched from the shadows, their golden eyes fixed on him, ready to report every move to Queen Vera. Maro knew that his work had shocked the entire royal court. Last night he had repaired the first piece of the armor, proving that a human could do what no alien engineer had managed. But now came the real challenge. The rest of the armor was even more damaged and far more complex. One mistake could destroy everything, and if he failed, he would not only lose his life but also bring shame to all humans living under the Zarian Empire. He took a deep breath and began carefully examining the remaining pieces. The helmet had long cracks running through its surface. The leg plates were twisted and broken. Most worrying of all was the core crystal, a glowing heart that powered the entire suit. It pulsed weakly, almost like it was alive. If it shattered, the armor would be useless forever. As Maro studied the parts, he remembered Queen Vera's words from the morning. Her sharp voice had echoed in his mind ever since. "You have proven yourself today, but can you repair the rest before the next battle?" That battle was only 3 days away. He muttered to himself softly, 3 days to save an empire. I cannot fail. While Maro worked, the royal court gathered in the upper halls. Riven, the elder engineer, paced angrily before a group of alien nobles. His narrow face twisted with rage. "This is an insult to our kind," Riven hissed. "The queen trusts a human more than her own people. If this continues, our honor will be lost." One noble, a tall warrior named Dravos, crossed his arms. "Honor means nothing if we lose the war. The human succeeded where you failed, Rivan. Perhaps we should learn from him." Rivan glared at Dravos. Learn from a human? Never. His methods are strange and dangerous. He is tampering with ancient power. If the armor fails in battle, it will not be the queen who is blamed. It will be all of us. Several nobles nodded in agreement. Others looked uncertain. Fear and jealousy spread through the group like poison. Rivan leaned closer to them, lowering his voice. We cannot allow him to rise higher. If he continues to impress the queen, he will gain influence. Imagine what it would mean if humans were given status equal to ours. It would destroy everything we have built. What do you suggest? A noble asked nervously. Riven's eyes gleamed. We watch him closely, and if necessary, we ensure his failure. Back in the workshop, Morrow worked tirelessly. He repaired the leg plates first, shaping the twisted metal back into perfect form. His small human tools were precise, allowing him to make adjustments the alien engineers had never considered. As he worked, he noticed patterns in the design. The armor's energy pathways reminded him of star maps he had studied as a child. The glowing lines curved and branched like constellations. That gave him an idea. Instead of simply fixing the broken circuits, he could redesign them to be stronger and more efficient, just like rerouting paths on a map. He sketched plans on a piece of metal scrap, humming softly to keep his focus. Hours passed without him noticing. At last, the leg plates were complete. He placed them carefully aside and turned his attention to the helmet. The helmet was tricky. It required perfect alignment of its inner crystals, or the queen's mind could be harmed when she wore it. Morrow's hands trembled slightly as he adjusted each piece. Sweat dripped from his forehead, but he never stopped. Suddenly, a faint clicking sound came from the shadows. Morrow froze. He looked around but saw nothing unusual. The guards remained still, their faces blank. Shaking off his unease, he returned to his work, unaware that danger was near. From a hidden corner, a small insect-like device crawled across the floor. It had been sent by Rivan to sabotage the repairs. The tiny machine slipped beneath the table, waiting for the right moment to strike. Later that evening, Queen Vera entered the workshop, her tall figure casting a long shadow across the room. The guards bowed deeply. Morrow straightened and quickly wiped his hands clean. "Show me what you have done," Vera commanded. Morrow guided her to the repaired leg plates and helmet. The pieces glimmered in the soft light, looking as strong and perfect as they had on the day they were first forged. Vera examined them closely. She traced her fingers over the glowing lines and nodded slowly. "Impressive. Your skill is undeniable," Morrow bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. But the most difficult task remains. The core crystal must be stabilized. Without it, the armor cannot function." Vera's gaze sharpened. "Can you do it?" "I believe so," Morrow answered, though his voice was heavy with caution. "But it will require precision and time. If the crystal is disturbed, it could release energy strong enough to destroy this entire chamber." The queen's eyes narrowed. "Then you must not fail." As she turned to leave, Vera paused. Her voice softened slightly. "You work with courage, human. Few among my own people would dare to face such risk. Do not let their doubt distract you." Morrow felt a surge of determination. "I will not, Your Majesty." When she was gone, Morrow returned to the table, ready to begin the final phase. But as he leaned over the core crystal, he noticed something strange. A faint burning smell reached his nose. His eyes darted beneath the table, and he spotted the small insect-like device just as it sparked. With lightning speed, Morrow grabbed a tool and smashed the device before it could explode. The guards rushed forward, weapons drawn. "What happened?" one of them demanded. Morrow held up the crushed machine. "Someone tried to sabotage the repair. If this had gone off, the core crystal would have been destroyed." The guards exchanged uneasy glances. "We will inform the queen at once." Morrow nodded but kept his suspicions silent. He had a strong feeling about who was behind the attack, but without proof, he could not accuse anyone. For now, he had to focus on finishing the repairs. Night fell over the palace. The workshop glowed with the light of the core crystal as Morrow carefully adjusted its fragile connections. He thought of all the humans living under Zarian rule, many of them treated as lesser beings. If he succeeded, perhaps their lives would change. If he failed, he would confirm every cruel belief the aliens held about his kind. His hands moved with precision and care. Bit by bit, the crystal stabilized. Its glow grew steady, filling the room with warm light. At dawn, Morrow finally stepped back, exhaustion written on his face. The armor stood fully repaired, gleaming like a star, It was no longer just a symbol of power. It was stronger than it had ever been, thanks to human ingenuity and courage. In the morning, the hall filled with nobles and warriors. Queen Vera entered wearing her regal cloak. The repaired armor was brought forward for all to see. Gasps filled the hall as the crowd admired its flawless beauty. Vera turned to Morrow. "Speak, human." "Tell them what you have done," Morrow bowed. "Your Majesty, the armor was not only repaired but improved. Its energy flows are balanced and its strength is greater than before. It will protect you and your people." Riven stepped forward, his face pale with barely hidden fury. "This is dangerous. No one knows what changes he has made. How can we trust this?" Vera's voice cut through the noise like a blade. "We trust results, and the result is before us." She donned the armor piece by piece. When the final plate locked into place, the suit glowed with brilliant light. Power surged through her and she moved with perfect grace. The crowd roared with approval. Even those who doubted were forced to admit the truth. Vera raised her hand for silence. "This human has done what none of you could. From this moment he will be given every resource he needs to serve this empire. Anyone who dares to hinder him will answer to me." Her words were final and unshakable. As Morrow stood before the crowd, he saw both admiration and hatred in their eyes. He knew that while he had won this battle, a greater challenge was coming. Somewhere in the crowd, Riven watched him with a look of cold promise. The game was far from over. Morrow straightened his back and thought, "I have proven my skill. Now I must survive what comes next." The royal hall was alive with noise and excitement after the dramatic display of the repaired armor. Queen Vera had worn it proudly, showing her people that their strength was unbroken. Many warriors cheered loudly, shouting her name and swearing loyalty to the throne, but not everyone was pleased. In the shadows, whispers of doubt and anger spread among the nobles like cold fire. Morrow stood near the edge of the hall, trying to remain calm as dozens of alien eyes stared at him. Some were filled with admiration, others with open hatred. He had expected pride and relief after completing the impossible task of repairing the sacred armor. Instead, he felt the heavy weight of being seen as a threat. Vera's deep voice silenced the crowd. "Our victory is near," she declared. "The Trasak clans believe our empire is weak. With this armor restored, I will lead you into battle and crush them. This human has proven his worth. From today, his work will be protected by my decree." Her words sent a ripple of shock through the court. A human protected by royal decree was unheard of. Some warriors bowed in respect, but others looked away in anger. Vera glanced at Morrow. For a brief moment, her stern expression softened. "Morrow, you will remain within the palace and continue to improve our war machines. My guards will watch over you." Morrow bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will serve with all my skill." As the crowd began to disperse, Rivan, the elder engineer, slipped away into a side corridor. His long fingers curled tightly in frustration. The sight of the human being praised had filled him with burning rage. He entered a private chamber where several other nobles waited, their faces tense. Among them was Dravos, the tall warrior who had argued earlier in defense of Morrow. "You have seen it yourselves," Rivan began, his voice cold. "The Queen favors him more than us. If this continues, he will rise higher and humans will begin to think they are equal to us." Dravos crossed his arms. "He saved the Empire's honor. Should we not respect that?" "Respect?" Riven spat the word like poison. "He is dangerous. His changes to the armor were reckless. We do not know what he has truly done. What if his methods fail in battle? What if his kind uses this knowledge to challenge us?" A younger noble shifted uneasily. "What do you plan to do, Riven?" Riven's eyes gleamed. "I plan to remove him before he becomes untouchable. There are many ways a human can disappear without question. The Queen cannot watch him every moment." Dravos stepped forward, anger flashing in his eyes. "If you harm him, you will be defying the Queen herself." "That is treason," Riven sneered. "Sometimes treason is necessary to protect tradition." The room fell silent. It was clear that a dangerous division was forming among the nobles. Some sided with Rivan, driven by pride and fear. Others, like Dravos, were uncertain but unwilling to oppose the Queen openly. Meanwhile, Morrow returned to the workshop, escorted by 2 royal guards. The room felt different now. Where once it had been a place of quiet focus, it now seemed filled with tension. Morrow could sense unseen eyes watching him, waiting for him to make a mistake. He sat at the workbench and began sketching ideas for new improvements to the Queen's army. His mind buzzed with possibilities. He had seen the weaknesses of the Zarian machines during his time repairing them. If he applied human problem-solving, he could make them faster, stronger, and more reliable. As he worked, one of the guards, a silent female warrior named Zura, spoke. "You are brave, human. Few would dare to stand before the queen as you did." Maro looked up in surprise. It was the first time she had spoken to him. "I only did what needed to be done," he said quietly. "If the armor failed, the empire would fall and many lives would be lost." Zura studied him for a moment, her golden eyes unreadable. "Some will not see it that way. They will see you as a threat to their power." "I know," Maro admitted, "but I cannot stop now. If I let fear control me, nothing will ever change." Zura gave a small nod as if respecting his resolve, then returned to her silent watch. That night, while Maro continued his designs, Ravan made his move. A shadowy figure crept through the palace corridors carrying a small device shaped like a metallic sphere. It was a silent killer, designed to release a cloud of poisonous gas undetectable by normal sensors. The figure slipped past the guards by taking hidden passages known only to the nobles. Slowly he approached the workshop door. Inside, Maro worked tirelessly, unaware of the danger closing in. Suddenly Zura's sharp voice rang out. "Who goes there?" The intruder froze, then tried to flee, but Zura was faster. She leapt forward, her spear flashing in the dim light. The figure dropped the sphere, which rolled across the floor, hissing faintly. Maro jumped back as Zura kicked the sphere into a containment box. The gas was neutralized before it could spread. "Guards!" Zura shouted. The other guard rushed in, and together they restrained the intruder. The hood was pulled back, revealing a younger noble who worked under Revan. Maro stared in shock. "He tried to kill me." Zura's face was grim. "Not just you. That device could have destroyed the entire chamber. This was no accident." The news reached Queen Vera within moments. She stormed into the workshop, her armored boots striking the floor like thunder. Her eyes blazed with fury as she looked at the captured noble. "Speak," she commanded. "Who sent you?" The noble trembled, unable to meet her gaze. I cannot say." Vera's voice grew cold. "Then you will be imprisoned until you remember." As the guards dragged him away, Vera turned to Maro. "This was no random act. Someone powerful fears you, human. They seek to end you before the coming battle." Maro took a deep breath. "I expected resistance, Your Majesty, but I did not think it would come so soon." Vera studied him closely. "You have courage, but courage alone will not keep you alive. From now on, you will not leave the protection of my personal guard. I will not allow fear to weaken my court." Maro bowed. "I will continue my work. Whoever is behind this attack will not stop me." The following day, rumors spread through the palace. Some said the human had brought misfortune. Others whispered that the queen herself had become too close to him. The tension grew so strong that even the common workers in the city could feel it. In the council chamber, Vera gathered her generals and advisors. Among them were both Rivan and Dravos. "Our enemies gather at our borders," Vera declared. "In 3 days we march to war. I will lead our forces personally. This armor will strike fear into the Trasak clans." Dravos stepped forward. "Our warriors are ready, my queen. With the improved machines Maro is creating, we will have a great advantage." Rivan forced a polite smile. "And yet, my queen, placing so much trust in one human is risky. If he fails, the entire empire suffers." Vera's eyes narrowed. "He has not failed. It is my own people who allowed the armor to fall into ruin. Maro has done what you could not." Rivan bowed slightly, hiding his anger. "As you command, my queen." After the council ended, Dravos found Maro in the workshop. "Be careful," the warrior warned. "Rivan will not stop. Today he hides his hatred, but tomorrow he may strike again." Maro looked up from his designs. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I respect skill," Dravos said firmly. "And because I do not wish to see the empire torn apart by jealousy." "If you fall, we all fall." Maro nodded gratefully. "Thank you. I will be ready." Late that night, Maro sat alone, staring at the glowing blueprints he had drawn. His improvements to the Zarian machines were nearly complete. If they worked, the Queen's army would be unstoppable, but his thoughts were troubled. The attack had shown him how deeply some nobles hated him. No matter how much he achieved, they would never accept a human in their highest ranks. He clenched his fists, determination burning in his chest. "I did not come this far to give up now," he whispered. I will prove that humans belong here no matter what it takes. In the shadows outside the workshop, Riven watched silently, his expression dark with fury. He knew he would need a stronger plan, one that would not fail. The next strike would be deadly and decisive. As the first light of dawn touched the palace, the air was thick with tension. The coming battle against the Trasak clans would decide the Empire's future, but so would the hidden war within the palace walls. Morrow stood at the center of both, unaware of just how dangerous the days ahead would become. The day of the great battle drew near. The sky above the Zarian Empire's capital was painted in shades of red and gold as the twin suns rose. Soldiers marched in precise lines across the stone courtyards, their armor gleaming in the morning light. Queen Vera stood atop the central platform, clad in her fully repaired sacred armor. Its power radiated around her like a living force. Morrow watched from the edge of the platform, his hands tucked behind his back. In just a few days, he had repaired and improved the armor and several other machines for the Queen's army. His human skill had already changed the way the Zarians viewed technology and strategy, yet he knew the final test was still ahead. The core crystal in the armor had to remain stable during the battle. If it failed under stress, the Queen would be vulnerable and the entire army could collapse. Vera approached him, her golden eyes sharp and commanding. "Morrow," she said, "today everything we have prepared will be tested. Are you ready?" "I am ready, Your Majesty," Morrow replied firmly. "I have double-checked every mechanism. The armor and machines are prepared for the battlefield." Vera nodded. "Then you will ride with me. I want you to see your work in action." Morrow's eyes widened slightly. Riding alongside the Queen in battle was dangerous beyond imagination. Yet he felt a surge of determination. This was his chance to prove that a human could stand alongside Zarians, not just as a servant, but as an equal contributor to their victories. The army moved through the outer gates and onto the open plains where the Trasak clans waited. Smoke rose from distant encampments, and the sound of drums echoed across the battlefield. The enemy forces were massive, filled with towering warriors and monstrous war beasts. Yet Morrow's eyes were focused on one thing: the armor. Vera mounted her steed, the armor moving with her like a second skin. Morrow watched as she adjusted the glowing crystal core within the chest plate. The pulse of the energy matched her heartbeat perfectly, a sign that his repair and enhancements were working. Dravos rode up beside Morrow. "Remember," the warrior said, "the nobles who oppose you are still watching. Any failure will be used against you. Stay alert." "I will," Morrow replied. "I cannot fail now." The battle began with a deafening roar. Trasak warriors charged, their claws and blades clashing against the Zarian lines. The Queen led from the front, her repaired armor shining like a beacon. Morrow could feel the energy of the core crystal pulsing faster, responding to her movements and protecting her from the heaviest attacks. Suddenly, a massive Trasak war beast leaped into the center of the battlefield. Its scales were thick and its eyes glowed with rage. Soldiers screamed as it smashed through their lines. Vera raised her sword, her armor enhancing her strength and speed. She struck the beast with precision, each movement perfectly supported by the systems Morrow had repaired. Morrow's heart raced. If the armor's core crystal faltered now, the Queen could be crushed. He focused, sending mental calculations to himself, imagining how the energy flowed through the armor. Every pulse, every vibration, every spark of power had to be perfect. The armor held. The energy surged in response to the Queen's actions, blocking blows and amplifying her movements. Soldiers began to push forward, inspired by her power and the efficiency of the machines Morrow had improved. Amid the chaos, a rival Trasak commander broke through the line and aimed directly for the Queen. Morrow's eyes widened as he saw the danger. There was no time for hesitation. He leaped from his position, running across the battlefield with agility he had learned during his training with the Zarians. Reaching the Queen, he activated a mechanism he had designed to protect her from sudden attacks. A small energy shield projected from the armor, deflecting the strike. The enemy commander stumbled back, confused and angry. Vera did not falter, swinging her sword with even greater force. The soldiers around them cheered as the enemy began to retreat. The effectiveness of the repaired armor was undeniable. Morrow could see the fear in the eyes of the Trasak forces. Yet the battle was not over. Riven had been watching from a distance. Even now, he could not accept that a human had earned the Queen's trust. He had sent a small group of loyal nobles to sabotage Morrow's equipment near the front lines, hoping to disrupt the machines and give the enemy an advantage. Morrow noticed subtle irregularities in the machine's movements. A loader bot shifted strangely, a weapon turret misfired. He recognized the signs immediately: sabotage. Without hesitation, he ran toward the machines, dodging fallen soldiers and debris. His hands moved quickly, repairing circuits and reconnecting power sources. Within minutes, the machines were back in full function, firing with precision and supporting the soldiers perfectly. Queen Vera noticed his actions and turned her steed toward him mid-battle. "Morrow!" she shouted, her voice carrying over the roar of the fight. "You saved the machines." Morrow shouted back, "Yes, Your Majesty. The equipment is safe." Vera's eyes gleamed with respect. This human, small and seemingly fragile, was not only skilled but brave beyond measure. She realized that she had underestimated the courage humans could possess. Together they pressed forward, leading the Zarian army with unmatched precision. The Trasak forces faltered under the combination of advanced machines and the Queen's unstoppable presence. Soldiers began to cheer and rally, following Vera and Morrow's lead. As the battle neared its end, a final challenge appeared. A massive energy storm created by the Trasak war shamans descended upon the battlefield. Lightning arced across the sky, and energy blasts threatened to destroy everything in their path. Morrow knew that the armor's core crystal was at its limit. If it failed now, the Queen would be defenseless. He reached out mentally, focusing on the flow of energy he had carefully aligned. Every pulse had to sync perfectly with the Queen's movements. Morrow adjusted the armor's energy circuits in real time, stabilizing the crystal even as it glowed hotter than ever. Sparks flew, but the system held. Vera moved through the storm without faltering, her sword cutting down enemy warriors. The energy shield Morrow had designed projected from her armor, deflecting the storm's attacks and keeping her safe. Soldiers followed her example, their morale boosted by the Queen's strength and the flawless operation of the machines. Within minutes, the Trasak army began to retreat, their forces scattered and disorganized. The Zarian victory was complete. The battlefield fell silent except for the cheers of the triumphant soldiers. After the battle, Vera dismounted, her armor glowing with residual energy. She turned to Morrow, her expression unreadable but proud. "You have done more than repair armor, human. You have saved the Empire today. Without your skill and courage, we would have lost everything." Morrow bowed. "I only did what was necessary, Your Majesty. Your leadership inspired me to act." Vera studied him for a long moment. Her golden eyes softened slightly. "Few humans possess the courage and intelligence to match our greatest warriors. You have shown both. From now on, you will not only serve as my engineer but also as my trusted advisor." Morrow's heart swelled with pride. He had come to the Zarian Empire as a simple mechanic, a human considered weak and insignificant. Now, he had proven that one human could make a difference, could change the outcome of a battle, and could earn the respect of an entire empire. Back in the palace, the nobles gathered to report on the battle. Dravo spoke first, praising Morrow's skill and courage. "This human's work saved countless lives. We owe him our respect." Riven, however, remained silent. His face was pale, his hands clenched. He could not deny Morrow's accomplishments, but his pride and fear of change burned like fire. He would wait, and he would act again. The human had won the battle, but the war within the palace was far from over. Vera addressed the court. "Today we have seen that courage and intelligence are not limited by species. This human has proven that even one person can change the fate of many. Let all who serve this empire remember this lesson." The nobles bowed, some reluctantly, others with genuine respect. Morrow remained quiet, observing the reactions. He understood that earning trust was one thing, maintaining it was another. That night, Morrow returned to the workshop. The quiet hum of the machines felt like home. He knew that new challenges would come. The enemies outside the Empire had been defeated, but within the palace, Rivan and his allies were plotting. Morrow touched the core crystal of the armor, still glowing faintly with residual energy. He whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning. If I am to protect the Queen and prove humanity's worth, I must be ready for anything." Outside, the stars shone brightly over the Empire. The battle had been won, but the true test of loyalty, courage, and intelligence was only just beginning. Morrow closed his eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath, and prepared for the challenges ahead. The morning after the great battle, the Zarian Empire was alive with celebration. Soldiers returned victorious, their banners waving high, and citizens crowded the streets to cheer for Queen Vera. The air smelled of fresh fires and blooming flowers, and for the first time in years, there was a sense of peace and hope in the empire. Maro walked beside the queen in the grand courtyard, his heart steady but full of pride. The repaired armor shone brilliantly in the sunlight, a symbol of not only Vera's strength but also his own skill. Every movement she made was supported by the systems he had improved, and every soldier who followed her had been inspired by the flawless work of the human engineer. Vera's golden eyes scanned the courtyard, her gaze settling on Maro. "Today our people celebrate," she said. "But we must also remember that strength is not only measured on the battlefield. It is measured in courage, loyalty, and wisdom. You have shown all three, Maro." Maro bowed respectfully. "I only did what was necessary, Your Majesty. I am honored to serve." Vera smiled, the first genuine smile he had ever seen from her. "You have done more than serve. You have changed the empire. Humans will no longer be seen as weak or unimportant. From today, your kind will have a place of honor here." Inside the palace, a council meeting was called. Nobles and generals gathered to discuss the future of the empire. Among them were Dravos, who had supported Maro, and Rivan, whose pride had been bruised by the human success. Vera began the meeting with a clear and commanding voice. "The Trasak clans have been defeated, thanks to the skill of our warriors and the improvements made by our human engineer. This victory shows us that collaboration between all beings is our greatest strength. From this day, humans will be recognized as valuable contributors to our empire." Dravos bowed. "Your wisdom is unmatched, my queen. Maro's contributions saved countless lives. His ideas and skill have proven their worth." Rivan, however, remained silent. His face was pale, but he forced a respectful bow. He could not deny the truth of the queen's words, yet inside he vowed to watch the human carefully. Pride and fear burned within him like fire. Maro remained quiet during the meeting, observing the reactions of everyone in the room. He understood that trust and respect were not given freely. They had to be earned and maintained. The battle outside had been won, but the war within the palace would continue for some time. After the meeting, Vera took Maro to the palace armory. There, soldiers were inspecting the repaired machines and armor, praising their efficiency and design. "You have done more than repair," Vera said, walking beside him. "You have improved our technology in ways I never imagined. The army is stronger because of you, and our people now have hope." Maro glanced at the soldiers, many of whom looked at him with a mix of awe and respect. "I only applied what I know. The courage comes from the queen and the soldiers who fight. My work is only a tool to help them succeed." Vera nodded. "Tools are important, but so is the mind that wields them. You have proven that one mind, even from another species, can make the difference between defeat and victory." Outside the armory, Dravos approached Maro. "You have done well, human," he said. "I have seen your skill firsthand. If we are to continue strengthening the empire, I hope we can work together." "You have my support," Maro nodded. "Thank you, Dravos. Allies like you make the work easier." Dravos smiled faintly. "Do not underestimate the palace, though. There are those who watch you with envy. Be careful and continue to prove yourself with courage and wisdom." Maro understood the warning. Rivan would not give up easily. There would be challenges, tests, and perhaps even attempts to sabotage his work again. But he also knew that he had the queen's trust, and that was the greatest protection he could have. Later, in the private chambers of the palace, Vera and Maro met to discuss future plans. The queen sat on her throne, her repaired armor gleaming in the firelight. "Maro," she said, her voice calm but firm, "you have shown the courage and skill of a true warrior and engineer. I want you to continue improving our army not just for battle, but for the safety and prosperity of our people." "I will, Your Majesty," Maro replied. "I will do everything I can to strengthen the empire and protect you." Vera studied him for a long moment. "You have earned more than a place in my service. From this day, you are the royal engineer. You will lead your kind and guide them to new heights. Your work will be recognized for generations." Maro felt a warmth in his chest. He had never imagined that a human could rise to such honor in the Zarian Empire. "I am grateful, Your Majesty. I will serve with all my skill and loyalty." In the days following the battle, the palace was filled with activity. Soldiers practiced with new machines, nobles debated strategies, and humans were given positions to contribute their knowledge. The empire had changed in a single moment. One human had proven that courage, intelligence, and skill could overcome prejudice and fear. Morrow worked tirelessly, supervising repairs and improvements to the army. He trained humans and aliens alike, sharing knowledge and encouraging collaboration. Soldiers who had once doubted humans now respected them, and some even sought Morrow's guidance. Riven watched quietly from the shadows. His envy burned, but he knew he could not oppose the Queen openly. For now he had to wait, but his mind was already planning. The human had succeeded, yet palace politics were never simple. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, Queen Vera approached Morrow. "You have done more than repair machines," she said softly. "You have repaired the faith of our people in courage and collaboration. They now see that strength is not limited by size or species." Morrow bowed his head. "I only acted with what I had. The Queen's leadership inspired me to do more. Without you, none of this would have mattered." Vera's eyes softened. "Perhaps that is true, but one human has changed the destiny of the Zarian Empire. That is something few can claim." She stepped closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. "From this day forward, you will never be underestimated again. Your skill and loyalty are beyond question." Morrow felt a sense of pride and belonging. He had come to this empire as a simple human, overlooked and underestimated. Now he was recognized not only for his skill, but also for his courage and intelligence. The next morning, the palace bells rang to announce a public ceremony. Queen Vera stood before the entire court and the citizens of the capital. The repaired armor gleamed in the sunlight, a symbol of victory and hope. "People of the Zarian Empire," she announced, her voice carrying across the city, "today we celebrate not only our victory over our enemies, but also the courage and skill of one among us who has changed our future. Morrow, the human engineer, has proven that one individual can make a difference. From today he will lead and guide our people, human and Zarian alike." The crowd erupted in cheers. Humans and Zarians alike raised their voices in admiration. Morrow stepped forward, bowing deeply to the Queen. Vera smiled, proud of her decision. "You have earned your place, Morrow. Let this be a reminder to all. Courage, intelligence, and loyalty are greater than fear and prejudice. Never forget that lesson." Later, Morrow walked through the palace gardens, reflecting on everything that had happened. He thought of the battles, the dangers, and the challenges he had faced. He realized that one human skill could change the destiny of an empire. His journey had not only repaired the Queen's armor, but also strengthened the faith of the people and opened a new path for humans in Zarian society. As the stars began to appear in the sky, Morrow whispered quietly to himself, "This is only the beginning. I will continue to serve, to protect, and to prove that courage and intelligence can achieve anything." Queen Vera appeared beside him, her gaze on the horizon. "You have done more than anyone could expect," she said. "Together we will lead this empire into a future where strength and wisdom go hand in hand. Humans and Zarians alike will rise together." Morrow nodded, feeling the weight and honor of her words. He knew that challenges would come, both in battle and in the palace, but he also knew that his skill and courage had earned him a place of respect. The empire was safe. The Queen's armor was stronger than ever, and a new alliance had been formed between humans and Zarians. Morrow looked at the stars above and felt hope for the future, knowing that one person's courage could change the destiny of many. And so, a human engineer once overlooked and underestimated had earned his place in the heart of the Zarian Empire. His work, his courage, and his intelligence would be remembered for generations, proving that even the smallest among us can achieve greatness when they dare to act.